Chapter 61. Get out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragon Gang Headquarter. I am grateful for Master Wang and Master Zhao's presence. We can start when Master Lin arrives. The second master said. Although Wang Zhou did not trust Dragon Gang, he knew the second master did not show any strange expression. The Grand Master did not attend that banquet, and the remaining 7 hall masters sat there without saying anything. They were very angry, but the second master warned them that tonight was a banquet, whoever showed hostility to the guest would be punished severely afterward. Therefore, they could only stare at Wang Zhou and Captain Zhao. They stared at those two to tell that they were angry at the government. How could Wang Zhou and Captain Zhao did not realize their stare? The second master squinted and looked at the seventh master. If you keep staring at our guest with that kind of gaze, I will send you to the dungeon. The seventh master couldn't accept his decision. Suddenly, there was a sound heard from outside. Master Lin, please. That was the voice of the waiter. Lin Fan entered the hall and found everyone was waiting for him to start the feast. Sorry, guys, there are a lot of prisoners in the dungeon recently. The interrogation is making me busy. I'm sorry for making you wait. Lin Fan said with a smile. The hall masters were upset when they heard that. Wang Zhou sighed, hurry up and sit down here. Everyone has been waiting for quite a while. Lin Fan was sitting beside Wang Zhou, and he had some opinions on the banquet offered by Dragon Gang. Lin Fan, this is the second master of Dragon Gang. Wang Zhou introduced him to Lin Fan, and also the rest of the hall master. Lin Fan saw Gao Yixiong, and he said, I haven't seen you for quite a while. Gao Yixiong smiled, yeah, we never meet each other since that day. Gao Yixiong realized Lin Fan was not a greedy person, but a young man who was simply a lunatic. Everyone is here, let's start. The second master said. The waiter was coming to the table to pour the wine, and then they toasted, I'm grateful that everyone can attend this banquet, cheers, wait. Lin Fan stopped him, before we drink the wine, we better find someone to taste all the foods, I'm afraid you will put poison in the foods. The second master was shocked. Mr. Lin, how can you say that? You don't believe me. I just believe what I see. Lin Fan said it was natural to be careful when dealing with Dragon Gang. No one knew what Dragon Gang would do. Only the second master who wanted to hold that banquet. That meant a few masters disagreed to hold the banquet. Don't cross the line, boy. The second master is already kind enough to hold this banquet for you. Some hall masters got angry. Sit down. The second master commanded, and then he laughed and said, I agree with you, we can never be too careful. Yeah, let's test these foods. Wang Zhou was actually worried about it, but he didn't dare to say anything. In Wang Zhou's eyes, Lin Fan was a rare talent, and what the government needed was such talent. Frankly speaking, what Lin Fan said was shameless, but it was elegant to be cautious. Wang Zhou wanted Lin Fan to take over his position and maintain Jiangdu City's safety in the future. But that would be a waste if he held Lin Fan in a small city like Jiangdu. Lin Fan should go to a bigger pond. Then, the food tester left without anything suspicious. The feast started. Halfway. The second master put down the wine glass and slowly said, Dragon Gang is not a criminal organization, but an existence recognized by the imperial authority. Whether it is the hall master or the grand master, as long as someone violated the law, I have nothing to say if the government arrests us. The government and we gain a mutual benefit to maintain peace in Jiangdu City. We used to, and we still do that. For this matter, I hope Master Wang, Master Lin, and Master Zhao agree. He did not ask the government to let Dragon Gang members go, but to talk about peace. Pfft. Lin Fan drank the soup and couldn't help but spurted it all out and smiled, keep going, don't mind me. The second master frowned, and he said, Master Lin's smile was quite hilarious. Master Lin might have something to say. Don't mind me. I want to hear your speech. Lin Fan tried his best not to laugh. The second master said, Master Lin has something in mind but refuses to say it. How can I continue the speech? Having said that, he habitually scratched his head. Lin Fan said, okay, then, let's talk about it. You just said that Dragon Gang and the government is working together to maintain peace in Jiangdu City. I think you are talking nonsense. You can go out and ask the citizens about how bad Dragon Gang's reputation is. Xiang Wu couldn't hold it anymore, he stood up and slammed the table. It's bullshit, you're slandering our Dragon Gang. Snapped. The second master hit Xiang Wu's head with a plate. Xiang Wu, it's better for you to cool your head outside. Xiang Wu said, Second master, this boy is lying. Go, the second master pointed at the door. Second master. Just go already. Xiang Wu glared at Lin Fan and went out helplessly. Lin Fan said, Whoa, no need to be so angry, second master. Everyone already knows it, so there is no need to say so many hypocritical words. Frankly speaking, people who are arrested in the dungeon can be released, but if they repeat their mistakes, I have to arrest them again. Then Lin Fan looked at Wang Zhou, Master, is that okay with you? No problem. Wang Zhou answered. Second master, you really don't know anything about it. What are you doing all this time? Lin Fan asked. The second master said, Yeah, I'm just playing mahjong, drinking tea, singing, and dancing. Of course, I will investigate what you said. If that is the case, they will be punished severely. It's the reason why Dragon Gang lasted for so long. Lin Fan stared at him and questioned his statement. But he was a second master. That was right, he should investigate it first. At that moment, Wang Zhou stood up and said, Please rest assured, second master, we will release the prisoners. The banquet tonight is really good. Thank you for your hospitality. Let's go. Farewell. Chapter 62. Finally I can kill someone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ballroom. Xiang Wu came in from outside and said furiously, Second master, why bother to respect them? They framed us, this is their excuse to go against us. The second master looked at the food on the table and said, It is a pity that this table is full of delicious foods. Sit down and eat it. The chef is a legend. It cost a great price to invite this chef who already retired. Come here, what are you standing for? One of the masters said, Second master, that kid was just talking nonsense, that is not true. The second master was very calm, holding the wine glass and said, Don't say anything. Let's eat first. This meal is not easy to get. Several hall masters stared at each other and picked up the chopsticks. Jiangdu City Street. Captain Zhao patted Lin Fan's shoulder, The words you just said are really beautiful. I don't dare to say that myself. Ha ha ha, that is the strong point of a foolish young man. Lin Fan laughed at himself. If he didn't have the system, he would never do it. He might die for sure. Wang Zhou said, Tomorrow, they will be released early in the morning, and Dragon Gang will be regarded as a peacemaker, so there is no need to think anything complicated. Lin Fan looked so helpless. The truth is, I don't want to release them, it's better to chop their heads off. Or giving them a verdict, a lifetime punishment. Unfortunately, I already ate all their foods. But the world is not as simple as what you think, boy. Wang Zhou said. He spent most of his life in Jiangdu City. In the past, he couldn't tolerate Dragon Gang's behavior and wanted to kill them as soon as he saw them, but the world was working in a way that you don't expect. Ha! I'm going to stay in the dungeon tonight. It's too easy to let them go just like that. I feel very sad. Lin Fan said. Wang Zhou said, Don't push yourself. Relax, I know it. Lin Fan said. Dragon Gang Headquarters. Library. The second master sat on a classy wooden chair, grabbed some white mud with his finger, and gently rubbed it on the back of his hand. Can't we just tell Grandmaster that we all follow Dragon Gang's rules? Xiang Wu's expression was so fierce and held so much hatred, but in the presence of the second master, he was just like an obedient chicken. Second master, you have always acted according to rules, and you have not violated any rules. Come on, guys, do you think I'm that close to Grandmaster? The second master walked to Xiang Wu's side. Xiang Wu lowered his head, he was sweating a lot on his forehead, and his eyes moved quickly. Second master, I'm innocent. Which part of you is innocent? Government's offices started to see us as an evil existence. I have never seen our men in another city get trouble like us. Xiang Wu shivered and was afraid. Many hall masters turned blind eye into that. Second master, I. Xiang Wu didn't know what to say, but suddenly, he felt a bit cold behind his neck. Second master's sword slid gently on Xiang Wu's neck, and the second master said with a gentle voice, "Little Five, I don't want you to lie, otherwise, I will do something to make you speak the truth, and the process might be a little painful." Snapped. Xiang Wu knelt on the ground, he was almost crying. Second master, I will tell you everything. The second master became so furious. It was so quiet that night. Grandmaster's mansion. A figure entered the mansion like a ghost. What's the Grandmaster thinking, even helping those people? The second master was very angry. He was interrogating the other person. Could he follow Dragon Gang's rules? The second master opened the door. When he was ready to ask something, he was shocked by the creature in front of him. Demon. The Grandmaster was talking to a demon. That demon has not changed shape. The way it talked was very primitive, that was, writing what it wanted to say on paper. The Grandmaster was shocked due to the sudden intrusion of the second master. Why are you here? The Grandmaster asked. The second master stepped back slightly. What are you doing? Working with the demon is breaking our rules, and it can't be tolerated. You are looking for death. The Grandmaster stared at the demon, and then he smirked. Kill him. The second master was coming from another city, he always followed the rules. After knowing the reason from Little Five, he knew that the government had done nothing wrong, they did the right thing. Dungeon. I will release you tomorrow. But I am quite reluctant. So I come here tonight, to have a sweet talk to you guys. Lin Fan said. Sanho's mouth was gagged with cloth, he couldn't speak at all, but Lin Fan knew that he was angry by looking at his expression. Leader, are you really going to let them out tomorrow? Wang Bao asked. Lin Fan said, yes, they will be released tomorrow morning, so tonight is our last moment with them. Find some sticks and show me a good show tonight. If they go out without any souvenir, what will others think of our government? Zhu Ho said, how dare you? He was afraid that he might die. Lin Fan was too lazy to respond to them and waved his hand, signaling Wang Bao. Gradually, the prisoners were screaming in the dungeon. Lin Fan looked at it with glittering eyes at first, but as the screams kept coming into his ears, he even regarded the screams as a lullaby, and he fell asleep. Suddenly, someone rushed in and shouted, Master, this is bad, Dragon Gang brings demon to save the prisoners. Lin Fan, who has just fallen asleep, opened his eyes fiercely. He didn't know the details. But those were not important. He only knew the opportunity for killing someone was coming. You stay here. I'll go alone. Lin Fan said. Lin Fan held a sword and disappeared into the dungeon at high speed. He was so excited. Chapter 63. Messing around. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiangdu City Street. Several men moved fast through the street while holding swords in their hands. Second Master, what are you doing? Wang Zhou shouted in anger. He was very shocked at that time. He left the banquet so he could sleep early. He did not expect the second master will rush in, and then he saw Dragon Gang's masters came thinking they are there to kill the demons and was trying to help the second master. They were working together with demons and violated Dragon Gang's rules. Master Wang, let's kill the demon with me and arrest them. The second master said. Wang Zhou wanted to scold the second master. Are you sick, can't you see the situation? Wang Zhou thought. The masters are hunting the demon down. Wang Zhou thought. Those two kept running. There was no way Wang Zhou and the second master could win against their numbers. If Dragon Gang was able to catch them up, those two would die for sure. Wang Zhou usually was very calm. But at that time, he was not calm at all. Wang Zhou thought if those masters were really chasing the second master because he saw they were working together with the demon, then that was a serious matter. The veterans have already left Jiangdu City. The newly appointed master has not arrived yet, and Wang Zhou didn't know how strong that person was. The second master was seriously injured, and his bleeding just won't stop. The second master broke through the affair between the other masters and demon because he wanted to leave peacefully. But that was just a dream. An amazing battle occurred. His strength was not a joke, but if he fought several masters at once, that would be difficult. They are not masters for nothing, they were undeniably strong, and the demon was about to shapeshift. Wang Zhou and the second master tried to escape. Gradually, the fatigue caught up with the second master, his speed was getting slower and slower, and when he looked back, those masters almost caught up to them. The second master shouted loud, Master Wang, I can't go on. You must leave Jiangdu City to tell the higher-ups of Dragon Gang about this matter. The second master knew that he wouldn't be able to escape. But he would not just sit and wait for the death to come. Who didn't want to live? Damn. The second master's expression was anxious when he found out that the other masters were working with the demon and tried to silence him forever. Killing an officer would bring Dragon Gang trouble, but they had no choice but to kill Wang Zhou. If the main hall knew that Jiangdu City's Grandmaster was working together with the demon, he would be in big trouble. At that time, the leopard demon that was about to transform seemed to exert some kind of talent and magical power. Its speed soared high to catch up, slamming the second master to the ground. The second master, Yin Ji, was severely wounded and spitting blood. Master Wang, hurry up, remember my words, and leave Jiangdu City. Env Wang Zhou, who ran far away, saw the second master, Yin Ji, fell to the ground because of his injuries. The leopard demon leaped. Yin Ji was in a life-or-death situation. Suddenly, just when Yin Ji thought he was about to die, a 9-ring sword blocked the leopard demon's attack. Why are you here? Yin Ji asked and felt relieved at the same time because he didn't want to die too soon. Wang Zhou said, if you die, I can't say anything about this matter. Do you think they will believe me if I'm the one going to the main hall and explain this matter? Yeah, you're right. Yin Ji nodded and agreed with Wang Zhou, and then seemed to think of something. Master, this is a serious matter. If I can escape and return to the main hall, the higher-ups will surely believe me. But this is only up to you. Don't get your hopes high. Wang Zhou glanced at Yin Ji when he said that. Several men appeared, blocking their way, and the atmosphere changed. Looking at Wang Zhou and Yin Ji's current situation, it was impossible to stay alive. Yin Ji leaned on Wang Zhou's shoulder with his pale skin. I didn't expect Dragon Gang in Jiangdu City can gather so many talented masters. It seems that you guys have gained a lot from working with demons. Yin Ji, I don't want to kill you, but you saw something you shouldn't see. Maybe God is on my side since the veterans have already left Jiangdu City. Without their help, the two of you won't survive. Yin Ji said, if I die here, I'm afraid you can't hide the fact and the higher-ups investigate this matter. Oh, that's simple. I am good enough at drama. I will kill you and then kill Wang Zhou. And I will say that you two kill each other," said the Grand Master. Well, it was indeed the Grand Master's lucky day because the veterans already left Jiangdu City. "This is bad," Wang Zhou whispered, "I can't protect you. If things go out, I will give up on you and save myself. Master Wang, let's fight together. Maybe there is a chance for us." Yin Ji was a bit nervous because of the current situation. Wang Zhou and Yin Ji looked at each other's eyes. Wang Zhou didn't know if he could kill the enemies. Those two were clear at the disadvantaged side. Suddenly, the Grand Master grew impatient and signaled his men. "Kill them." 3 masters plus a demon which was about to shape-shift were already a terrible threat, and their strength was clear above ordinary people. The 9-ring sword in Wang Zhou's hand trembled, but he won't back down. Yin Ji was abandoning Wang Zhou and tried to escape on his own, but Dragon Gang already thought of that possibility. Crack. Not too long after that, Wang Zhou knelt down, struck his sword on the ground, and he was spitting blood. He looked up and said, "They're too strong. Let's finish this." Master Yuan sighed, he moved so fast and struck Wang Zhou and Yin Ji. "You moron." Wang Zhou tried to block the incoming attack even though he was already out of breath. And suddenly, a voice shocked Wang Zhou. Messing around. Chapter 64. Why I Cannot Kill Him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Fan was coming out of nowhere. The rumor said that someone who entered the second stage could move as fast as a horse. And when she entered the third stage she could move even faster. Wang Zhou wanted to confirm whether it was Lin Fan or not, but he was shocked before he could confirm who it was. Lin Fan was too fast, and he was surprised when he saw everyone's expressions. Yuan Bei's expression changed because Lin Fan stopped him when he was about to kill Wang Zhou. "I will kill you with my own hands." Yuan Bei's palms were as fast as lightning, causing afterimages. Lin Fan swung his sword so casually, regardless of the swordsmanship technique, but his messy swordsmanship technique successfully hit Yuan Bei. He was so excited at that moment. How is this possible? Yuan Bei saw Lin Fan's swordsmanship was like an amateur and a lot of opening here and there. Yuan Bei was still taunting Lin Fan, but then something that shocked him happened. Lin Fan's swordsmanship brought him big trouble. However, Lin Fan's movement was too fast when he swung his sword. Lin Fan's sword was already in front of his eyes in a blink of an eye. Plus, Lin Fan's cultivation was bigger than him. There was no way to win against Lin Fan. "Hiya!" Lin Fan shouted and he used the ox crushing the mountain to slash Yuan Bei's head. Yuan Bei was frightened. Lin Fan was too fast and he couldn't avoid it. He tried to block Lin Fan's attack with his sword but the sword was broken. Slash! In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan's sword stuck on the ground. Yuan Bei's body split into two, his blood stained the ground. Clearly, he already died. "Master, rest assured, you can count on me, please take a good rest." Lin Fan sheathed his sword and looked back at Wang Zhou, but he was shocked when he saw the second master. What kind of combination is this? And then Wang Zhou explained to Lin Fan what happened to both of them. Okay. Lin Fan nodded. In fact, he didn't care about that kind of thing at all. Because he didn't have any interest or dream he wanted to achieve in his current world. But when he heard Wang Zhou was being chased, he came out without a second thought, regardless of who the enemy was, and killed them all. Yin Ji was startled and said, "Brother, he is so powerful. How do you feel if your men are more powerful than you?" Wang Zhou glanced at Yin Ji said, "Yeah, right, several masters, and a powerful demon." Lin Fan didn't care what item Yuan Bei dropped. He didn't pay attention to those things at all, at least at that time, but he looked at the other guys. The Grand Master frowned. He felt that Lin Fan's eyes were like the beast's eyes that were ready to kill its prey, and he was upset about that. Come and fight me. The Grand Master yelled because Yuan Bei's death shocked him greatly. Wan Qing attacked Lin Fan with all his might. Lin Fan struck his sword to the ground and the ground became cracked, and then he attacked Wan Qing in a blink of an eye. That was superb. His fingers were shining under the moonlight, he spread his fingers, grasping Wan Qing's chest. 5-fold strikes. Sharp edge. Lin Fan's fingers pierced Wan Qing's chest. Wan Qing felt that his heart seemed to be dragged away by a mysterious power, and he was pulled toward Lin Fan's direction, then he felt so much pain instantly. Lin Fan's attack damaged Wan Qing's internal organs, especially his heart. Boom! Wan Qing fell to the ground. Lin Fan rushed to him at a very fast speed, with Lin Fan's 5-fold strikes attack landed on his chest, he felt as if he couldn't control his power. Because Lin Fan's 5-fold strikes could block acupuncture spot. So if the technique landed properly, the target won't be able to control their power properly. Wang Zhou and Yin Ji stared at each other. Is that guy dead? Brother, what kind of power your subordinate has? Yin Ji and Wan Qing have fought against each other. And Yin Ji knew Wan Qing was not an easy opponent because he was almost as strong as Yin Ji. My blood is boiling. Lin Fan felt like every pore in his body was wide open. Now, it's your turn. Lin Fan stared at the Grandmaster. Boy, you're looking for death. The Grandmaster said. Lin Fan leaped into the air, spread his arms, he suddenly appeared in front of the Master, and landed an attack. But the Grandmaster was able to block it and the after effect of their fight was so great. Lin Fan's face became red because he clashed with the Grandmaster. At the same time, the Grandmaster could not bear Lin Fan's power. How is this possible? The Master was terrified. But he couldn't afford to lose focus at that time. Suddenly Lin Fan was holding the Grandmaster's wrist and even though he saw Lin Fan's attack was coming, he couldn't avoid it. As soon as Lin Fan moved, his fingers were moving on the Grandmaster's wrist, and he reached the armpit, in the blink of an eye. O.org crack. At that moment, all the bones in the Grandmaster's arm were broken. What? Arg! The Grandmaster screamed. You're screaming too early, the main course is about to be served. Lin Fan pulled the Master's arm backward, pulling it into a very weird angle like a pro wrestler. Then he locked the other Grandmaster's arm, and then legs, hip, waist, reaching up to the back of the neck. The Grandmaster's body was looking fine from outside, but it was already crushed inside. The Grandmaster was screaming endlessly. The moment Lin Fan let go of his hand, he only heard the sound of cracking bones. The Grandmaster's body was shrinking, several times smaller than before. I'll kill you in my special way. Lin Fan pressed the top of the Grandmaster's head and raised his jaw. Master Lin, please show your mercy, don't kill him. Yin Ji looked at him and shouted. Crack. The Grandmaster's head turned 180 degrees, sticking out his tongue, his neck crooked, and died. Don't kill him. If I'm not here to kill anyone, then what am I doing here? Chapter 65. Ruthless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leopard Demon was in a panic when he saw Lin Fan's power, his instinct told him to escape right away. Escape, I must escape. He thought. At that time, the Leopard Demon ran away. He was about to use his full strength, to be able to kill Wang Zhou instantly. But he met a terrifying existence. He couldn't believe it. A pig hunted a leopard. Where are you going? Lin Fan noticed the Leopard Demon wanted to slip away while Lin Fan was talking with Wang Zhou. Lin Fan didn't want to let the Leopard Demon escape, because he might be able to get some jackpot from that demon. Ox crushing the mountain was a good technique. Lin Fan's legs became extremely fast, and he ran directly toward the Leopard Demon. Under the moonlight, Lin Fan's bald head emitted a unique luster. Iron head. Although the leopard demon was fast, he could chase the demon. He rushed up and hit the demon's back. Boom! The leopard demon felt that his lower back seemed to be broken, and a huge magical power swept the demon's body. How could a human's head be so hard? The demon thought. The leopard demon was much more resilient than the black fox demon. If he stopped running and fought Lin Fan seriously, he might be able to hang on for a while. But unfortunately, the leopard demon was already afraid of Lin Fan, so running away was the only thing in his mind. Demon, you sure have the guts to come to the human city and cause a ruckus, but can you survive from this? Lin Fan grabbed the leopard demon's tail, punched and smashed the leopard demon to the ground. Because the leopard demon's body was very elastic, he bounced directly from the ground. The leopard demon was furious, and his sharp claws grabbed Lin Fan. The claw full of hatred toward Lin Fan, he was preparing to escape with all his might after he stopped Lin Fan for a sec, but he did not expect a mere human was able to catch up. Asshole! That was so humiliating. Be no calm when Lin Fan's 5-fold strike clashed with the leopard's claws, there were sparks. Crack! The leopard's claws shattered. Lin Fan tackled the leopard demon's forefoot, and the leopard fell to the ground. Then he grasped the leopard demon's legs and tore it apart. Crack! Leopard's expression changed. Lin Fan caught the leopard demon's legs, then stepped on the leopard demon's head, and slammed his head like crushing a watermelon. Hey, it's so simple and easy. But I can't keep going with only this. I have to cultivate. Lin Fan touched his glowing bald head while looking at the sky. Ji shuddered, and he said, "Brother, you are going too far." Wang Zhou himself looked dumbfounded. Lin Fan's way to kill that demon was ruthless. "Sir, what about those guys in the dungeon?" Lin Fan asked. He wanted to kill San Ho in the dungeon. Don't do it. You can't kill anymore. If you kill San Ho, we won't have enough evidence. Ji said. Wang Zhou said, "Forget it, just hand the case over to Dragon Gang. Ji is not in cahoot with them, but unfortunately, we don't know how many people are involved in this matter." Lin Fan had no interest in those kinds of things. "Master, the rest is yours. I will go back first." Lin Fan waved and left. He was a bit disappointed when he couldn't kill anyone in the dungeon. Just forget it. Because Lin Fan already had enough harvest tonight. Wang Zhou looked at Lin Fan's back as Lin Fan left, and he was even more convinced for sending Lin Fan to Immortal Gate. Lin Fan was a rare talent. Jiangdu City was too small for him. Inside Lin Fan's house, Lin Fan hurriedly closed the door, looking a bit excited. He needed to check his inventory. Obtained 200 silver, obtained martial arts. Boxing, 4th stage, obtained 80 years worth of cultivation, obtained footwork. 4 steps, 4th stage, obtained spirit root. 1 gold spirit root shard obtained. Sprint, bronze, there was also a congenital skill that could be useful. Boxing, 4th stage. A powerful technique that could dry the ocean. There were 3 styles of boxing: boxing pouring the world, boxing style, and boxing for the world. And also the enemy dropped footwork. Footwork was something he lacked at the moment. He had an amazing magical power, but he lacked mobility and flexibility. 4 steps, 4th stage, walking through the clouds. Could fly like a god, the movement was hard to read, and it was very dangerous. 4 styles of footwork: 1st. Horizontal, 2nd. Ascend, 3rd. Proficient, 4th. Wander. Not bad. Judging from the current condition, he has become a master of the mortal world. He also got 80 years of cultivation. Leopard demon was not weak. But in the end, it was so easy for him to kill the demon. When fighting the leopard demon, his cultivation was no longer 107 years, but 187 years. And the fragment was useless for the time being, it needed to be synthesized. In the end, he just obtained a bronze level. What bad luck, he even killed a demon which could shape-shift only to get a bronze level talent. When slaying the leopard demon, he saw the possible item drop from that demon. Among them was a golden talent. Unfortunately, he didn't get lucky enough. He only obtained a bronze level talent, the sprint. Come to think of it again. He couldn't say that was bad, but he also couldn't say that was good. Sprint, bronze level. Increase user speed in a short time. The duration is short, but no one could catch up to the user. Name: Lin Fan. Spirit root: none. Realm: 4th stage. Cultivation: 187, martial arts. Wild boar crash, 1st stage, harvesting, 4th stage, twin sun, 3rd stage, iron head, 4th stage, ox crushing the mountain, 4th stage, 5. Fold strikes, 4th stage, boxing, 4th stage. Footwork: 4 steps, 4th stage. Talent: hardening skin, black iron grade, quicken, pseudo, bronze grade, sharp edge, pseudo, gold grade, sprint, bronze grade. Item: golden spirit root shard x1. And it was so hard to get 187 years of cultivation. Chapter 66. You smell so bad you are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, inside the dungeon. Cheer up. If you're lucky, you can leave. Lin Fan was in a good mood. Last night's harvest was very good, which made his mood changed slightly. Ouch. Why is it so smelly? Who is taking a shit in this dungeon? Lin Fan walked in, and then Wang Bao came to him. Wang Bao's mental state was not very good because he was so tired. Wang Bao, what's happening with you, didn't you go back last night? Lin Fan asked. Wang Bao said, Leader, you have given me such an important task. How can I go back? Lin Fan wondered, what task? Leader, you said before you left last night that I must stay here, and you will come back to beat the shit out of them. Wang Bao said. But fortunately, I succeed to make them shit themselves. Leader, you can rest assured, I have checked those guys one by one. Lin Fan was shocked when he heard Wang Bao's words, and everyone remained silent. That was. He really didn't expect Wang Bao will take his words without thinking about it first. At that time, he casually said it. Wang Bao actually did it perfectly. Leader, just now you said the dungeon is so smelly. But that is proof that we did our job perfectly. Wang Bao said proudly, after completing the things that Lin Fan ordered, he felt that he was useful. His father once said that if the leader trusted him, and he couldn't perfectly execute what the leader wanted him to do, then he was useless. Lin Fan looked at Wang Bao's expression, what else could he say, but Lin Fan patted his shoulder and said, Wang Bao, you did a good job. Lin Fan said such a compliment. Wang Bao became more proud of himself, it's my job to help you, leader. What else could Lin Fan say? He could only say, let everyone go, except for San Ho. Yes, leader. Wang Bao said and immediately did what Lin Fan asked. Although the current condition was a mess, they showed their professionalism as a hunter. At that time, Zhu Ho's condition was very messy and dirty. He shouted, Lin Fan, I won't let you go. Lin Fan was holding back, even though he wanted to kick that man's ass, but he was afraid shit might be coming out. Lin Fan came to San Ho, you can leave, but remember, there are some things that are not as simple as you think, but I have to say, I'm sorry, I will beat the shit out of you. Lin Fan kept his distance from San Ho. He was afraid that the smell would stick to his clothes. San Ho remained silent, but just stared at Lin Fan's eyes with hatred, and wanted to swallow Lin Fan alive. Outside the dungeon. Ji led his men to wait outside the dungeon. Although he was seriously injured, he must endure it. Actually, he didn't want to report that case to the main hall. He didn't want to know about the demons because it will be a pain in the ass for him. Quickly. Sanho and others walked out of the dungeon. At that time, they saw Ji was standing in the distance and immediately ran excitedly. Second Master. I know you will come to us. Ji wanted to say something, but immediately, he smelled an unusual smell, and he said, "Don't come near me, you are so smelly, follow me but keep your distance." The gang members who followed Ji immediately stepped forward, but when they approached, they were seriously shocked by Sanho's smell. Second Master, what do you mean? Sanho said in shock. Ji didn't want to say anything to save Sanho's face, bring them back. Then he clenched his fist and said, "Brother Wang, I'm really sorry for the past years. You also know that I get transferred to this place. I didn't expect Dragon Gang here violated the rules. I will fix this and hope to coexist with the government." Glad to hear that. Wang Zhou said. Dragon Gang was approved by the kingdom, and their base was all over the land for a reason. If Dragon Gang broke the laws, the kingdom would hunt them down mercilessly. Everyone on the street saw the second master caught the third master, and it seemed the situation was not good. At the same time, the smell was so horrible. No one knew what those guys have gone through in the dungeon. Outside the dungeon. Wang Zhou said, "You have proved your worth. You are ready to take the test of Immortal Gate. Are you sure it is not too fast?" Lin Fan was surprised, he also wanted to go out. It was really comfortable to stay in Jiangdu City, but he wanted to see more of his current world. Wang Zhou patted Lin Fan's shoulder. "You are my pride. I believe you can reach greater heights." Lin Fan nodded and didn't say anything. He was worried about his subordinates. Chapter 67. Leaving Jiangdu City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rumor was always the fastest message application to send a message. Regardless of whether it was true or not, as long as they could relieve the distress in their hearts. There were rumors about government and Dragon Gang in Jiangdu City. The citizens talked about Lin Fan, who beat the crap out of the Grandmaster. All sorts of gossips were spreading. Some were true. But some were also fake. Ji took the Grandmaster's position. New Sanho thought that when he returned to Dragon Gang, he could feel the warmth of the family. But Ji took some actions. He gathered all of the members and hall masters. He made an upset. Ji made sure that the rest of Dragon Gang members in Jiangdu City abided the rules. Otherwise, they will die. In the past, they dared to be so arrogant because the Grandmaster gave permission. And the current Grandmaster has changed, they could only obey Ji. As for Lin Fan, he promoted Wang Bao in the government. He raised the reputation of the Bald Head Hunters. Everyone did not expect the Bald Head Hunter would kill Dragon Gang's Grandmaster. Then, something awkward happened. The bald head was becoming more and more popular in the city. Many people came to the barbershop to shave their heads clean. The bald head turned out to be insanely hot. The owner of the barbershop was laughing when he saw the situation. "Leader, aren't we training today?" Wang Bao asked. The newcomers were already well known in Jiangdu City. When they returned home, their neighbors respected them. Lin Fan looked at 15 of his men without saying anything, although they haven't been together for that long. But they already established a deep bond of brotherhood. Lin Fan waited for them in the city gate. Quickly. Wang Zhou and Captain Zhao led the horse, and at the same time, brought a burden to Lin Fan. The day of Immortal Gate's assessment has came. He felt that even if he didn't have spiritual roots, in the martial arts realm, he should be more powerful than others. Moreover, he also desperately wanted to go out and see the outside world. Wang Zhou approached Lin Fan and patted his shoulder. This time, you worked hard. Sir, what kind of hard work that I do? Lin Fan laughed. Then he looked at his men. Brothers, I wanted to tell you sooner, but parting is so sad, so I didn't tell you until now. I'm leaving to participate in the assessment of Immortal Gate. I'm counting on you to protect this city. Lin Fan felt that staying in Jiangdu City was also a good choice. But he must go to Immortal Gate in order to bring peace for Jiangdu City. Leader, didn't you say you want to live here? Wang Bao was so sad. Everyone felt the same, they knew how good Lin Fan was to them. Even though it was short, they have really regarded Lin Fan as the leader for their entire life. Goodbye, I will leave for a while. Lin Fan said. Wang Bao wanted to say something, but he didn't say it, and smiled. Leader, don't worry, we will live up to our reputation. Leader, this is my father's bun, please take it with you. Wang Bao took out the bun. Rest assured, I'm only going out for a while, and I believe you guys will have a chance to go there in the future. Lin Fan took the bun and said that with a smile. By that time, you will see more bald heads, bedodem, ha ha ha. Lin Fan laughed, and then looked at Wang Zhou. Master, please take care of my brothers. Rest assured. They are the government's people. Naturally, they are my brothers too. I will take good care of them. Wang Zhou said. Captain Zhao nodded to Lin Fan, gave him a sign that he could leave at ease. Jiangdu City will be fine under their watch. Master Wang, I have to leave. Lin Fan said. Wang Zhou had no hope to be part of Immortal Gate anymore and entrusted his hope to Lin Fan. He just wanted Lin Fan to enter Immortal Gate. Be careful along the way, remember, when weird things happen, don't bother it. When you arrive at Chaolu City, you will see the sign of Immortal Gate's assessment. Wang Zhou pulled Lin Fan and told him something. Lin Fan listened to them one by one, then he said goodbye to the crowd and went straight out of the city. I will return. Not long after that, Lin Fan's voice was heard from afar. Wang Bao could not help crying. I can't bear to let him leave, but I can't tell him. Gao Zhenbin comforted Wang Bao. Wang Bao shook his head. No, our leader takes a huge step, he can become a disciple of the Immortal Gate. How can I make our leader feels uncomfortable because of my sentiment? I must let him leave at ease. Wang Bao was having difficulty controlling his emotions. And all of Lin Fan's men decided to train as hard as they could, so if Lin Fan came back, they already became stronger. Chapter 68. The assessment begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few days later. Chaolu City. Lin Fan couldn't find the right words to describe that city. This place has a good culture. Chaolu City is the place of Immortal Gate assessment, also known as Dengtian City. The prosperous city is like the heavenly palace, and the assessment place is so extraordinary. A voice came from behind. Lin Fan looked back, and there were a few handsome men and women riding a horse. When he looked at their clothes, he knew they were children from a noble family. Compared with them, he merely looked like a boy from the boonies. Those men and women smiled lightly while looking at Lin Fan's eyes. Those who couldn't read was waste. Unexpectedly Lin Fan met with such an arrogant bunch. Lin Fan glanced at them. He vowed in his heart if he already became Immortal Gate's disciples, he will teach them a lesson or two. Then he ignored those guys and went straight to the city. Chaolu City was indeed a big city, and Jiangdu City was incomparable with that city. There were many people in Jiangdu City, but Lin Fan saw even more people lived there. Not long after he entered the city, he saw a lot of people standing near the bulletin board, and he decided to take a look. It turned out to be related to the assessment of Immortal Gate. According to this information, it should be tomorrow. I don't know if Li Zhiyong is also in Chaolu City. Lin Fan pondered. He was relatively new to the outside world. But that was not important. He must find a place to stay and wait for the assessment of Immortal Gate tomorrow. He was a bit panicked now because he hasn't obtained a spirit root. He thought that perhaps he had a chance even though he didn't have a spirit root. But when he heard the gossip in the pavilion, I heard that the assessment of Immortal Gate would be extremely strict this time. In the past, the spiritual root could become a huge advantage, but now they raised the standard. Lin Fan didn't fully trust that information, but it could be regarded as useful info. But if what that man said was true, Lin Fan would find it hard to enter Immortal Gate because he didn't have any spirit root. And when Lin Fan kept listening to them, he found the standard was to have the 9-grade spirit root. I told you, that guy who has the 9-grade root is the son of a commoner in our city. He and his mother depend on each other, and they could barely even eat a proper meal every day. However, because of the 9-grade spirit root, he passes the assessment. The people around there were surprised by those nobles' gossip. No one would expect a commoner could make it to the end, which was hard to imagine. Lin Fan didn't know whether what those people said was the truth or not, but at least he got some useful information. There were various grades of spirit root. For example, from the shard all the way to the 9-grade spirit root. And he felt a bit down then he left the pavilion. Next day. Immortal Gate Examination Square. At that point, there were already a lot of people there, and many people were waiting for the disciples of Immortal Gate to come. And Lin Fan stood casually among the crowd. Maybe that was the sorrow of mortals. Due to the presence of the immortals, no one even noticed the mortals. The sky. A dazzling boat floated in the air, with so many people standing on the boat. One of the middle-aged men in robes stared down to the city like he was looking an ant, held his beard and saying, "I don't know if the promised one will raise in this assessment. Brother, it's hard to find a good seed for a century. Now it has been only 10 years after the last one. It won't be that easy to find the good seed again. If it really happens, then this city is a real immortal's house that can breed a good seed," said the man with the sword. It was really a sight for sore eyes. "I hope this year will not be a disappointed one," the middle-aged man said. Immediately, the man with the sword stepped forward, and the long sword behind him flew to be his footing, and that man came down from the boat. In an instant, there was a roaring sound between heaven and earth. The assessment of Immortal Gate begins, please refrain from causing a ruckus. Chapter 69. Impossible. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The appraisal of the Immortal Gate disciples arrived. As mortals, even if they had self-confidence, they were like ants in front of the immortals. So strong. Lin Fan looked up, and he couldn't control his breathing for a sec. If that man intended to use that sword to kill everyone in that place, even Lin Fan would not be able to survive. The man stepped on the immortal's sword and slowly descended to the ground, intimidating all participants. The immortal's power was the real deal. Is that the immortal's sword? After the man arrived at the ground, the sword at his feet revolved around his body and flew directly back into the scabbard. The assessment of Immortal Gate in Chaolu City has officially started. People who have spiritual roots in their past life can become disciples too, but this year's rules have changed. Only a person with a good quality spirit root is qualified. Let's begin. The voice sounded loud. The man walked directly to the highest part of the boat, sat on the chair, closed his eyes, and waited quietly. Although it was almost impossible to enter the Immortal Gate, Lin Fan still had hope in his heart. Soon, many Immortal Gate disciples came out from behind, maintaining order, and dividing the participants into several lines to conduct the assessment at the same time. Lin Fan stood among the crowd, a bit nervous, but he himself knew that he had no spirit root. There was some commotion among the people. Because the Immortal Gate changed the standard for the current assessment. Perhaps they have already had enough disciples, and to reduce the passing candidates, they purposely raised the assessment standard. At that time, Lin Fan felt someone's hand patted his shoulder, and he looked back in confusion. What? The young man who was standing behind him looked a bit nervous. Brother, do you have a spirit root? I don't know. Lin Fan answered. Lin Fan was a little guilty because he was lying. The young man whispered, actually, I have a spirit root, but I'm afraid I won't be selected. This year's assessment will be very strict. Lin Fan wanted to have a good chat with that guy, but when he heard what the other guy said, he immediately ignored that guy. He had no intention of going along with nonsense. Asshole. If they were not in the assessment site, he would have kicked that guy's ass. He believed the guy just wanted to deceive him. That guy stopped when Lin Fan kept ignoring him. Suddenly, he heard the voice of a person in front of the assessment site. Those with 100 years of experience in martial arts will be qualified if he has a spirit root. In an instant. The crowd murmured, talking about how lucky if someone had 100 years of experience in martial arts, then they only needed a low grade of spirit root to pass. On the assessment table, a man showed up in a spirited manner, and when the appraiser told him the instructions, he felt the attention, and he basked the spotlight. That was envious eyes. He was used to that kind of attention. Now test your spiritual roots, don't be too nervous, just put your hands on the mirror. The appraiser was so polite. If the appraiser found there was a spirit root in him, he didn't have to have such a high grade of the spirit root. As long as he had the 3-grade spirit root, he will pass. His position in the immortal gate will definitely be much higher than the appraisal. So it was necessary to build a good relationship from the beginning. The man smiled confidently, I know. Then he put his hands on the mirror, thinking in his mind that it would be a high-grade spirit root. A 7 or 8-grade would fine, or even the 9-grade would be enough. Every participant at that time focused on him. Gradually, there was something wrong with the atmosphere. The immortal gate's appraisal who passed that guy frowned and looked carefully at the mirror, but it did not give a response. Don't be too nervous, let's try again, said the appraisal. Well, I must be too nervous. The man tried to remain calm, but deep inside he was not calm at all. How could that happen? He will never believe that he didn't have the spirit root. He confirmed himself that it must be because he was too nervous. He took a deep breath and put his hands again. The mirror still didn't give any response. The examiner took a closer look, and said, you don't have spirit root, unqualified, next. Compared with the enthusiasm from before, the appraiser's attitude toward him changed drastically. That man couldn't accept the result and denied reality while leaving the assessment's place, because the immortal gate disciples made him fainted and dragged him away. The appraiser of the immortal gate said, the first thing you need to know is there will be no error in our assessment. Maybe you are talented in martial arts, but without spirit root, you will have no chance to become disciples. That is the rule. Whoever dares to make a ruckus here will be punished severely. Assessment continues, next. The crowd was shocked because even though they were talented in martial arts, they couldn't enter the immortal gate if they didn't have a spirit root. It's so hard. Lin Fan began to panic. Without a spirit root, he was just wasting his time. Was there any point in continuing the assessment? Chapter 70. Lin Fan, scolded the way you are listening at novelfull.audio. Bypassing seconds, confident people had left one after another in frustration after taking the assessment. Because they didn't have the spirit root. That was a very cruel reality. There are fewer people who have the spirit root than I thought. Lin Fan found a problem. After so many people took the assessment, there were only a few of them left. And by looking at those people, Lin Fan knew they were from noble families. The proportion of nobles who had the spirit root was around 70%. What a terrible number. Monopoly. That was a family monopoly of the immortal threshold. Ordinary people had to depend on luck if they wanted to have the spirit root. Ho Tian, 7 grade, spirit root, qualified. The assessment staff said. That man who was participating in the assessment cheered and roared. The appraisal staff smiled. It was not bad, it was the highest grade of the spirit route so far. Congratulations on your qualification to enter Immortal Gate. Now, if you have the credit, you can register right now, said the staff. That man said, credit? I don't have any credit. I just want to join the Immortal Gate. What is this credit you are talking about? The staff was expressionless and said, Ho Tian, 7th grade, spirit route, no credit, unqualified, next. That man shouted, I have 7th grade, spirit route. Can't I talk with the higher authority? The officer said, that is the rule, and no one can change that. Next. That man was not satisfied, but he didn't dare to say anything. Otherwise, the consequences would be horrible. Lin Fan did not know how long it has been, he was almost drowsy standing in the line. Suddenly, a terrifying shout sounded throughout the assessment venue. 2nd class, 9th grade. Spirit route. The man with the sword on the chair got up and nodded, his eyes were flashing with excitement. Nobody expected to see someone with a 9th grade spirit route in Chaolu City. That was the highest spirit route. 1, 2, and 3 were inferior. 4, 5, and 6 were medium. 7, 8, and 9 belonged to the first class. The ordinary disciples in Immortal Gate only had inferior spiritual routes. Even the one who was in charge of the assessment only had 4 grade spirit route. A disciple with 9 grade spirit route will certainly be the elder in the future if he cultivated well enough. Immediately afterward, another voice sounded. 2nd class, 9th grade. Spirit route, submission credit, qualified. The appraisal man smiled, the other one before did not have credit, but that time he had the credit. Regulations have always existed to bind ordinary people. The staff congratulated that man with sugar-coated words while hoping when that man became the elder, that man would not forget that staff. Lin Fan felt disgusted with the staff. Next. Brother, it's your turn. The man standing behind Lin Fan pushed him. Lin Fan reacted and felt helpless. He had accepted the reality because he didn't have the spirit route. The appraisers were in a good mood. It was a great thing to find a 9th grade spirit route disciple in Chaolu City. Even his attitude towards Lin Fan was so nice. Don't be nervous, just take it easy, the result will come out soon, said the assessment staff. Lin Fan put his hands in the mirror and waited for the result. The appraisal staff was so leisurely waiting for the result, but then, when he looked at the test result, he rubbed his eyes and blinked fast. As if seeing something unbelievable. Then he looked up at Lin Fan and then looked down at the result again. He shouted. High quality of spiritual power and martial arts qualifications. Qualifications of gods. In an instant. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people were shocked by Lin Fan's result. And the men with a sword on his back looked at Lin Fan in surprise. He did not expect to encounter such an impossible thing that mortals could achieve. The martial art was much harder to cultivate than spiritual power. It was possible to an immortal to cultivate martial arts to the highest stage. But suddenly, there was a guy with high-quality spiritual power. And martial arts at the gods' qualification. But it was such a pity. Lin Fan didn't have the spirit route to be qualified to enter Immortal Gate. You have the highest quality of spiritual power, and your martial arts is at the gods' qualification, but you don't have spirit route. Thus you are unqualified. As soon as those words came out, the crowd was quiet. The appraisers patted Lin Fan's shoulder and said, the spirit route is a must. But look at the bright side. Based on your cultivation, you can be the king in the mortals' world. Lin Fan laughed, thank you for comforting me, anyway, I just come to experience the assessment myself. But his heart was also broken. It was really annoying. Although he knew that he didn't have the spirit root, he felt so uncomfortable when he heard that from others' mouths.